Hello and welcome to the show. Well, this week I want to tell you about a bit of new tech. And the reason I want to specifically mention this is because many agents, property managers don't realise that there's an emerging problem to do with possible litigation. The best way to explain to you about this new product I want to mention to you, it's not new, but it's certainly new to me, is to play your video. So have a look at this explainer video, and then I'll come back and talk to the man behind it.
Introducing AgentSafe, the first cloud-based work, health and safety software for properties for sale, rental properties and strata buildings. Access AgentSafe's cloud-based software anywhere you may be, easily increasing productivity with faster, more accurate and efficient technology, leading to higher standards of performance amongst staff and contractors. Stay up to date with the latest legal developments and issues in a variety of safety and security areas, thanks to the AgentSafe audit trail functionalities automatically updating on the cloud, which protects you and your business. Store all details and documentation of your preferred tradesperson within AgentSafe, allowing your team to easily assign jobs and access any documents needed during auditing. Store all required documents from each property within AgentSafe. If the property is missing a required document or is non-compliant, AgentSafe will automatically alert you. You can upload the required documents or leave a note with what steps you have taken to become compliant, saving you from any future legal issues. You can then email a compliance report straight to the property owner from AgentSafe. AgentSafe always has up-to-date legislation easily available for you to view from any device, anywhere. Keep on top of your workplace health and safety for every property in your portfolio. Distribute any risk information, training or induction information to all contractors and employees before they enter the property or job site. AgentSafe allows you to create meetings and record minutes, keep track of any near misses for all trades and employees, and therefore give you the ability to successfully manage safety and security risk across your portfolio. So why AgentSafe? AgentSafe increases productivity with faster, more accurate and efficient technology, makes compliance easier than ever to achieve and maintain at all times, makes it easier to stay abreast of legislation changes and practices through a back-end notification email service. And AgentSafe makes it easy for employers to give workers information, training, instruction or supervision to protect them and others from any workplace health and safety risks. For more information, visit agentsafeforrealestate.com.au. AgentSafe, supported by Jobs for New South Wales, a New South Wales government agency.
Well, there you go. A wonderful explanation about AgentSafe. And the man behind that is George Rousos. George, welcome to the show. Thank you very much and congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, George, that video is a great explanation about what AgentSafe is all about. But the thing I wanted to talk about, and we're happy to talk a little bit more about the app itself, but is that a lot of agents don't realise just how many areas of possible litigation there are coming forward. Can we just talk about that? And what you're learning from the people who are already using this app?
Yeah, look, in my time as a trainer and assessor, what I've noticed is the amount of new legislation that's been introduced in Parliament, and it obviously has now come into force around safety and security requirements of properties. And probably in the last 5 years, we've seen around 5 or 6 new pieces of legislation around safety that is, in a way, making it almost impossible to manage and mitigate the risk that comes with it without software, without adopting a systematic approach. And it's not just the safety and security requirements across the property, it's also the fact that every property becomes a workplace for the time that the worker is on site. So there's another layer of risk there, Kevin, under the Work Health and Safety Act of 2011 that agents have to also comply with. So it is a minefield, and it's very hard to get cover under your professional indemnity for third-party negligence. It's very difficult now because there's been
it's next to impossible, as I understand it, isn't it? It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible.
It is impossible because there's just been too many claims against agents, and the severity of risk for the insurance companies now is way too high. So what they've done, Kevin, is they've added more exclusions to the PI cover, and a lot of agents are not reading what those exclusions are. And one of it is to do with negligence at the property. So the only way they're going to be able to manage this risk now is by adopting a systematic approach, is basically having good record management and being able to monitor all the new compliance obligations that the owners have to meet, but the agents have to manage on their behalf. And it's not just landlords and body corporates, it's vendors as well. So
I can hear a lot of agents and property managers now saying, oh, look, we've got all this under control. We know what we need. We've got all the documentation. But the thing I love about AgentSafe is that you might think you've got everything, but AgentSafe is actually going to tell you if you don't. So let's talk about how we start with a property, how long it takes to load it, and whether we can do some bulk uploads. And then, what does Agent Smart do to check that the property is compliant, George?
Yeah. So to put a property into AgentSafe, it would only take roughly a minute or two to put that property in. So there'd be a few fields you have to complete. But once it's in there, automatically everything comes up. So the symbols come up to say that it's actually non-compliant, because it forces you to go in there to check the information and the legislation, make the changes, and obviously you need to change it from being a non-compliant to compliant or not applicable. There's also the bulk upload facility. So if you've got hundreds of properties that you need to upload, I think there's a 3-step process to do that. And that's just basically exporting the properties from your existing lease management software, putting it into the AgentSafe Excel spreadsheet, and then just going through a step-by-step process to bulk upload those properties in. Now, as you're entering information in, it's automatically generating the report, which will eventually go to the owner. And that can also accompany the ingoing inspection report. It can also accompany any information you give to the owner. And it's also, you're able to actually keep updating that report as well. So as you keep putting notes in, the report is automatically changing and being constantly updated for the owner's view and for the owner's purpose.
Okay, so listening to what you said there, and having looked at it myself, I know that it's very easy to upload a property. In other words, a property can go in a matter of minutes. It's then getting all the documentation in and making sure that it's compliant, which is really what all the work is. And to be quite frank, there's not a lot of work there, because it tells you if you need to do something, then you just need to go and do it.
Correct.
Let's talk about cost. Now, as I understand it, 1 to 25 properties, and a property manager's got the ability to go in and test it for nothing.
Correct. So 0 to 25 properties, they can just trial at their own leisure. And then from there, you're looking at any fee from $100 to $3,000 a year annually. Obviously, depending on how many properties you got, but that's what you'd be looking at in terms of fees.
Let me ask you then about, so many, and one of our great supporters is Rock End and Property Tree. I understand you're working with them to have that integrated into their software as well?
Yeah, so what we did, we've spoken to Rock End about building an API that will allow us to fetch individual properties rather than the agents, in a way, double handling. Yes. What we found, Kevin, after talking to the software developers and doing a bit of testing, we're not totally sold on the idea. We think it could create more tech issues, and given the fact that there's not many fields to fill in, and the fact that agents have to be entering information anyway, we feel that it's just as quick putting that information in on the run. The main issue is the bulk upload. Well, that's already taken care of. But look, it's something we're still looking at, but we're not totally sold on the idea as yet.
Okay.
But we are talking to Rock Hand at the moment.
Yeah, I thought I'd ask that question because it is mentioned on your website, so it's good to have that clarified. And I agree with you. I think, you know, the simplicity of AgentSafe and the fact that you're totally covered is probably one of the most important elements. So a little bit of extra time. And I see it as a good recruitment tool too for future properties, when you can say to an owner, look, we'll make sure that your property is compliant. We'll make sure that we've got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted because we've got AgentSafe. So I see it as a big plus. Now, its availability, it's available on the East Coast.
Yes, it's available in New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. And something we need to mention, Kevin, is the app is constantly updated all the time in terms of maintenance, but more importantly, legislation and information pages are constantly being reviewed and updated accordingly. The new material fact disclosure laws have just been uploaded to the relevant sections. I think we need to probably make mention about some of the types of material facts that real estate agents will have to disclose from the 23rd of March, and some of them are in relation to drug activity in the property, suicides, murders, cladding issues. There's a whole range of material facts that agents are really going to have to be on top of, and AgentSafe is actually built to be able to record those material facts, which are very hard to manage.
It's really great. It's really great that you mentioned that, because that's how you and I met. In fact, I interviewed Tim O'Dwyer, a good mutual friend of ours. Tim's written a book called Real Estate Escapes, and I spoke to him in my radio show on on my radio show on 4BC, and we talked about drugs, compliant, making sure that you're checking, and that's the reason we came across AgentSafe, is because you take care of all of that. And I think that is an emerging thing that we need to be very, very mindful of, George.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's not just a compliance issue in terms of making the property safe. There's also the disclosure element to it as well. And then you've got the personal safety management. So there's a whole raft of elements of risk that agents have to be on top of now. And at least with AgentSafe, you can do it in one location. I mean, it's still a big job, but at least you can do it at one central location and know that you've got everything there at your fingertips. And that's something that the industry doesn't have at this point. So the other thing too is, Kevin, we want agents to offer a premium service. We want them to, review their fee structure and hopefully offer something that is not just attractive to the consumer, but hopefully create some newfound growth with their rent rolls and even the way they run their sales business. So we're looking at not just making sure that they're compliant and they're mitigating the risk, but they can also improve their business in terms of profitability.
Okay, well, if you want to know a little bit more, the product is called AgentSafe, and the website to go to is AgentSafe for Real Estate, FOUR realestate.com.au. George, thank you, my friend. All the power to you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you, Kevin, for having me on your show.